Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. We'll have the prayer by our Planning Director, Mr. Scott Ankerson, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman George of Ward 1. And please silence your cell phones or any other electronic device.
Heavenly Father, God, before you tonight, we give you thanks and honor and praise. God, we thank you for our gifts and our blessings, for healing in our bodies, God. We ask that you continue to protect us, God. We ask that you be in this meeting with us tonight, be with the City Council, give them wisdom and unity as they conduct city business. Most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, his sacrifice for our sins on Calvary's cross. We ask all this in his name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman George, and thank you, Mr. Ankerson. That brings us to our agenda order of approval. Ms. Shancy, do we have any additions or deletions?
I have one additional announcement I'd like to add.
Okay. Do we have an agenda order approval, adding an announcement under number 3?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilman Jackson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman College. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to our announcements by Ms. Shancy.
Gautier Senior Center Thanksgiving Luncheon and Membership Drive will be Wednesday, November 16th from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Senior Center. The City of Gautier's annual Lights and Lighting on the Bayou will be December the 3rd, starting at 1 p.m. at the former Singing River Mall property. Our offices will be closed Friday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. And on Veterans Day, which is November 11th at 11 o'clock a.m., the laying of the wreath ceremony will be held, hosted by American Legion in front of the Veterans Tribute Tower.
Thank you, Ms. Shancy. We don't have a presentation agenda this meeting, so we go on to our business agenda. Business agenda item number 1 is consideration of an amendment to the golf cart and low-speed vehicle ordinance by our city manager, Ms. Shancy.
Yes, sir. We realized that the definition of low-speed vehicle could also include certain go-karts, and we did not feel like that's what council intended, so we amended the definition to specifically include go-karts, specifically exclude go-karts, but the remainder of the low-speed vehicle definition remains the same. That's the only change.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Shancy. Do we have any public comments on business agenda item number 1? If we do, come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Linda Myers. I just live for 12 years. I have a statement concerning what happened to me with this current ordinance of the low-speed vehicles. I've been a citizen of Gautier since 1976. I pay my taxes in this community, I teach in this community, and I raise my family in this community. And I'd like to inform the city on how we're truly trying to register my low-speed vehicle. On September 12th, I went to the city to try to register my vehicle, and I was told by Sandra Bank that the city only registers golf carts. So I printed out the ordinance, I went back the next day, and she still refused to register my low-speed vehicle, even though I showed her the ordinance. She said she would have to talk to Scott Ankerson. She also said rather sharply, I would have to prove that it went less than 25 miles an hour. So on September 14th, I emailed Scott and explained the situation to him, and I sent him the ordinance. He emailed me back and wanted the specs of my vehicle, so I sent it to him. He then states, I'm reaching out to the city attorney for clarification of the ordinance in this matter. Because I have never issued a registration to any other vehicle other than a golf cart, so I'm seeking the city's approval as he drafted the ordinance and he got it approved to state. His email also states that I brought up a good point with the definition of low-speed vehicle in this ordinance. I will reach back out to you once he clarifies this with me. Thank you for your patience in this matter. 9 days passed, I didn't hear from him. My husband called, left a message. I followed up with the email on September 25th. Once again, no reply from Scott. For some reason, Scott was ignoring us and did not follow up with us as he stated he would. So at this point, I started to get suspicious. I emailed the Gautier City Attorney. I never heard back from him either. I kind of joked with my husband. I said, do you think someone would try and change the ordinance without following up with us? He replied, no, that would be unprofessional and wrong. But that's what happened. On September 30th, I wanted to see what's on the agenda for October 4th, and to my surprise, I see a request by Polly Yancey to disallow the registration of low-speed vehicles. I've never spoken to Paula about the ordinance, but it seems someone had. And at this point, I have still not heard from Scott, but mind you, Scott was supposed to be clarifying his orders for me, and I needed to be patient. He did not have the courtesy to even notify me what was being placed on the agenda for October 4th, which was later tabled. Councilman, place yourself in my situation. You're asked to wait patiently while Scott seeks clarification from the city attorney. 9 days have passed since you sent up a follow-up email with no reply, and you see that someone's trying to slip in the agenda October 4th a motion to disallow low-speed vehicles on the road of Gautier. Does that seem a little suspicious? Would you not want Scott to explain his reason for his abrupt stop in communication with you? Why does Scott have the authority to ignore an ordinance that was passed over 2 years ago? And when did Scott plan on telling me, getting back with me when they changed the ordinance? Finally, after 43 days on October 25th, I received an email from Scott saying things have been clarified and I could come get my decal. However, I had already been informed that I was able to register my vehicle. At this point, his email was comical because he stated that he was sorry for the delay, everything had been clarified, and thank you for your patience. No mention of the ordinance trying to restrict it. In closing, when I walked into City Hall tonight, I noticed the motto on the building: people, prosperity, and integrity. And I say it again, integrity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Rick Myers, southeast corner of Gautier. I'm going to lead into the phone conversation that I had with the planning director on September the 19th to discuss where things were with the permit, the same one that my wife's talking about. I called him, informed him who I was, and he immediately asked me, "You live on Cherrywood?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're the guy that I had to install the flood vents in your workshop." I replied, "Yeah, that's right, you're correct." So the backstory to this is that we had a disagreement about me having installed flood vents in my shop due to some kind of FEMA regulations in this area, which I later complied with the city ordinance. Furthermore, the discussion about the flood vents took place more than 6 years ago, yet something in Scott's memory jarred my name and my address just that quick, okay? So apparently I made a lasting impression with him, and once he realized who I was and remembered the flood vent issue, all communications with Scott ended with my wife and myself. I never got a phone call back from him. I never got a return. Okay? On September 30th, almost 11 days later, my wife tells me, now the city's proposing to amend the ordinance and remove the low-speed vehicles. Doesn't this seem a little coincidental and could be considered maybe an abuse of city power in someone's position like this? Is this how the planning director is allowed to conduct business for the city of Gautier? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Do we have a motion for consideration of amendment to the golf cart and low-speed vehicle ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman College. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion? Start with Councilman George. Councilman Jackson.
Yes. What type of vehicle was it?
It is a low-powered utility vehicle.
Like, it look like similar to a golf cart?
It's a street legal low-powered vehicle that is resemblance to a side-by-side that goes less than...
Like the ones they have at Lowe's?
Like what?
Like similar to the ones at Lowe's, but low powered?
Not quite that big. It's not that big and robust.
Okay.
No. It has blinkers, it has a horn, it has a windshield, it has seat belts, everything that street legal required. That's the way it came from the factory. It's not been modified.
Okay. Okay, so is there any more problems with this being registered? Is blocking this in this ordinance?
No, sir, he's registered.
Okay, so we're good now on that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
So the issue is not that, I have a sticker now, everything's
Yes, sir.
fine. What I'm leading up to is all the hoopla that we had to deal with in order
Right.
to get to this point was totally unnecessary.
Yes, sir. Okay, no further questions.
Councilman Gilat.
Y'all forgot to mention that you called me too, which I started talking to the city manager in Scott, and I said, look, I can't find anything in the ordinance that identifies what this should be. So therefore, I talked to the city attorney also, and that's what really started this change, and it went back and forth. Unfortunately, changing ordinances does take some time. And for us to respond and tell you that it was working, I didn't know whether we was gonna do anything or not until tonight. And finally, we got something here. What I'm looking at here, and I've read through it twice, but it doesn't say in this ordinance that you require a driver's license to operate one of the, any vehicle on the street, whether it be a golf cart and/or a low-speed vehicle. That's my question.
It does say,
Have a learner's permit.
yeah, section
Yes.
3, section 3B.
I missed
Needs a learner's
Section
permit.
3B.
Yeah, a long one, okay, all right. So that's the only thing I had a question on, but yeah, finally, again, it takes quite a bit of time to change an ordinance, and for communication to go back and forth, I apologize for that not happening from the city, but there was various communications between the city attorney, Scott, myself, and the city manager on this thing. And you can say, complain as much as you want about the communication, but finally, we got it done. Okay?
So it's not a complaint about the communication from the council members.
It sounds like, I said from the city, communication from the city.
Correct. The only thing we were offered, should have been offered the courtesy to at least be known instead of reading just out of the clear blue that it's about to be amended when we're trying to get the permit. Isn't that just a decent thing to do to a citizen of Gautier?
And again, I apologize for not having a communication on an everyday basis, but it takes quite a while to change an ordinance. And to go back and forth, it would have been, we can't tell you anything until the council approves it, is what he would have been telling you. Okay?
But we should have never been denied in the first place. Because it was a low speed.
It wasn't in, the ordinance was not defined as to what a low-speed vehicle was.
Yes.
And that's what I questioned.
Yes, it was.
So our movement tonight does not have anything to
It
do
did-
with
it-
their particular vehicle. We're
Golf
just
carts
excluding
was
one
not
person speaking.
identified in there.
Golf carts.
That's what I questioned. Well, what about golf carts? Okay? So that's why we changed it to eliminate golf carts. Okay?
Go-karts.
Or go-karts, whatever you want to call it, go-karts.
Is that all you have, Mr.
That's it.
Gilat? Thank you. Mr. College?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those unfortunate circumstances. I know Scott Dickerson for many years. He does a jam-up job for this city. He's very dedicated, and he's in a thankless position, unfortunately, a lot of times. There was evidently a communication breakdown, but I think what spurred this all over was what technically a low-speed vehicle is. Is that a golf cart? Is that a go-kart? Does a go-kart constitute a low-speed vehicle? Does a side-by-side that's governed, now 25, consider a low-speed vehicle? Is a four-wheel drive, is a four-wheeler or an ATV a low-speed vehicle? So we were trying to get clarification on that. Like I said, there was communication breakdown. I think we have this clarified now, so there should be no future issues with vehicles of your specific features that you purchase getting permits any further.
I never think that, but my biggest issue was, he never got back with me, and they tried to strike it out of the ordinance. They tried to get it, do away with those speed vehicles, and that was totally wrong.
And I can 99.9% say that was not solely him. That was communication between certain city staff and our city attorney to figure out what we wanted to do for our ordinance. And when it came up and got tabled, there was some communication with council, with members of the city to say, hey, what do we need to do to get this right? So like I said, I do apologize for the communication breakdown. This is, in my opinion, a very isolated incident. with regards to it, and I'm glad that we're getting this resolved now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman College. Councilman Anderson?
Whew, boy. I got involved in this probably more than any of you did. I'm the one that asked to be taken off the agenda because there was nothing wrong with the ordinance as it was. Not a thing in the world wrong with it. It's just the lady at the front desk denied her a permit, and she does not set the policy. This council does. And she denied her a permit. And she should have never denied her a permit. She shouldn't even have to went to Scott. She should not have denied her a permit. But she did, and then it led into all this. It shouldn't have got that far. There's nothing wrong with the ordinance. All we did with the ordinance now was said no go-karts. Well, nobody's gonna come up here and try to get a go-kart permit in no way. Because a go-kart doesn't have lights, brakes, seat belts, roll bars, a top, or nothing.
Councilman Anderson, I disagree with you because they got them for
But let me
sale.
finish talking.
I know,
You
but I'm going to
disagree
tell
with
you
me.
they have them for sale, just like fitted out. Ms. Yancey, Mr. Danos, we
Oh,
all
okay,
found them.
good,
That's
good.
why they
Okay,
stipulated no
good.
golf
I haven't
carts.
seen one.
Because they meet the
That's good.
ordinance.
Well, now we got it in there, and all we had to do was add one exclusion, which is go-karts. And now it works just fine. But their vehicle was legal under the ordinance as it was written, just like Ocean Springs and Pasco and everybody else. And it should have never got to this point. That's all I gotta say.
Like I said, a communication breakdown.
Communication breakdown.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Councilman Elvin?
Yes, now that there's been an amendment to the ordinance, can we repost this back on our city website?
We will have to republish it and repost it. So
Okay.
we'll publish it for 30 days, we'll follow the same procedures when they adopt it first.
Where will it be posted?
Say again?
Where will it be
Posted
posted?
on the bulletin board in the lobby.
Okay.
Now,
At some
Once it's
point,
adopted, we'll
Published
change
in
it
the
on the
paper
web.
as well.
gotcha.
may I say one more thing?
Go ahead,
Since
Councilman.
it's low speed and that's something we should verify, should we not maybe have them bring the thing down here and have it looked at? Or we just take their word it's low speed? Because there's some high-speed vehicles out here like this.
Now, I've come across that issue in the past, and a lot of people will get them delivered. They don't have the trailers or the means to bring them down here to be inspected. So a lot of times, I think, Ms. Ankerson, if I'm not forgetting, they got to bring kind of a bill of sale or say what it is.
Sign affidavit.
If I'm questioning, how the speed of it, all I have to do is get the model number and pull the specs off
Okay.
off the internet.
Okay.
Tell me a top speed on the vehicle.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ankerson. Any other comments? Mr.
That's it.
Okay. I just want to thank the city staff for clarification. It was brought up for review due to the city staff having concerns, and we apologize that you had to experience this and your issue that you had. However, there was some clarification issues due to legislation with the speed. If I'm not correct, Mr. Danos, the legislation, ours is a little different from some of our sister cities. It's not identical. And then also they classified the speed limit in the legislation. So that's why we have to abide by that speed limit. And there was some concern about side-by-sides. A lot of them, or majority of them, don't go, they go over the speed limit. They're excessive. So that's why what happened, the situation unfortunately happened. But Mr. Ankerson, we appreciate your staff. We know your staff that accidentally told them no. He was, that's what they were told to do by their superior. So that employee did nothing wrong. It was going by what they were told, and you all report to the city manager and not to the council. So we will, Ms. Yancey, if she wants to talk to any of our staff, she will be glad to speak to them, but that's who, in our form of government, the staff reports to Ms. Yancey. So thank you. We have a motion by Mr. College, a second by Mr. Anderson. All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to business agenda item number 2, authorization to enter into a standard form agreement with Allred Stolarski Architects, PA, for design services associated with the Mississippi Songwriters Performing Arts Center by our city manager, Ms. Yancey.
This is an architectural contract. He did the preliminary design, and we got some money before last, last year, and then we got the rest of the money this year. And so this allows him to go forward and design the Performing Arts Center. And it has everything in it all the way through construction. But that's what this is.
Thank you, Ms. Yancey. Do we have any public comments on business agenda item number 2? None? Do we have a motion by council for authorization to enter into the standard form agreement with Allred Stolarski Architects, PA, for design services associated with Mississippi Songwriters Performing Arts Center?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Gilat.
Second.
Second by Councilman Anderson. Any discussion, starting with Councilman George?
No, just another step forward on this project. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you, Councilman George. Councilman Jackson?
No comment.
Councilman Gilat?
Building's going to be completed next week, right?
We're having Thanksgiving at it.
Is that all, Councilman? Councilman College?
Just going through their contract and everything, is actually the estimated cost for this Performing Arts Center going to be $2 million?
Actually it was 2.5 when we turned it in and to the legislature, but given the cost increases and things, I'm trying to get him to give me an updated estimate.
Yeah, because they're showing here at $2
January.
million, and based on, those construction fees is 6.67% architectural.
For January, but anyway, I'm sure it, like everything else, is going up, but.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Councilman Anderson?
Glad to see this moving forward. I'd love to see it move a lot faster, so before the cost does go up. But is there an estimation, if I missed it, on the design time?
No, sir.
No estimation?
No, sir, he is going to give me a time schedule, a schedule of how he anticipates it, but a lot of that's going to depend on, once he gets to designing it, how many changes we make and that sort of thing. But when he gets to probably a 50% design, he'll probably be able to give us the schedule.
And we know exactly where it's going to be built now, don't we?
Yes, sir.
In the area there by the roundabout? Okay. That's all I got, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson.
No comments.
Okay, I just want to thank Ms. Yancey and your staff and, for working to move this forward, and the Songwriters. I know during the Songwriters Festival, they talked a lot about this, and our legislatures did too at the receptions and everything, and the legislature is really supportive of this project, and to see the need of it, not only for Gautier or Jackson County, but the state in a whole, to recognize our Mississippi Songwriters. So we want to thank them and the local delegation for their continued support. Ms. Yancey, when y'all continue, when we get updates, will you pass them on to the board and us to social media like we've been doing, so we can all stay informed of how the project's going? Thank you. We have a motion and by Councilman Gilat, a second by Councilman Anderson. All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to business agenda item number 3, approval of the master services agreement and statement of work for codification and/or recodification services through Civic Plus LLC by our city clerk, Ms. Teresa Montgomery.
Y'all remember we discussed this during the budget process, and it was included in the budget. However, it came in a little bit higher than what it's budgeted at. So I will be coming back with an amendment in my first set of amendments for the increased cost. But with this, we will have new code books. All the codes on the internet, the internet access will be updated. And with our new website, we'll have a direct link to all of our codes on the website. So this will be a good thing. It's going to put this portion in, because we have the civic clerk, which we do your agendas and minutes with, and then the website, and this is like the third part, so all of our stuff will be seamlessly on the website. It'll make it much easier for y'all, us, and the citizens.
Thank you, Ms. Montgomery.
A little higher.
Okay.
Like that.
Clear.
Just like everything else.
Thank you, Ms. Montgomery. Do we have any public comments on business agenda item number 3? None. Do we have a motion of council approval of the master services agreement and statement of work for the codification and/or recodification services through Civic Plus LLC?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman College. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilat. Any discussion starting with Councilman George?
No comment.
Councilman Jackson?
No comment.
Councilman Gilat?
Remind me of this same group doing a website update? So it's all
Yeah.
under this one contract?
Same company owns all of this.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman College?
No comment.
Councilman Anderson?
No comment.
Councilman Elbin?
No comment.
I just want to thank the city staff, Teresa and your staff and the city manager. Y'all put a lot of work into it, but it will make it, and the citizens will be greatly appreciative. So they just like to click it and go through it. And Emily, Ms. Dickerson, we know you've put a lot of work in making sure our code numbers and our ordinances have the right numbers, and we appreciate all your hard work in your new position. So thank you. We have a motion by Councilman College, a second by Councilman Gilat. All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to business agenda item number 4, approval of the docket of claims. They've been provided to the staff, the elected officials, the council, and myself through our electronic devices, and also to the citizens through online agenda. So we do not have a presentation. Our clerks put them online for us. Do we have any public comments on business agenda item number 4? None. Do we have a motion of approval of the docket of claims?
I make a motion that we approve the docket of claims provided that all entries thereon are true, correct, properly entered, and not fraudulent.
We have a motion by Councilman College. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elbin. Any discussion starting with Councilman George?
No comment.
Councilman Jackson? Councilman Gilat?
No comment.
Councilman College?
No comment.
Councilman Anderson?
No comment.
Councilman Elbin?
No comment.
All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to our consent agenda. They're all approved in one motion unless you want to pull one. Does anybody want to pull one of the consent agenda items? We'll be approving 1 through 4. 1, approval of the minutes from recess council meeting held October the 18th, 2022. Number 2, approval of water and sewage adjustments for November 2022 in the amount of $9,283.63. Number 3, approval of the FY 2021 continuing disclosure submission prepared by Butler Snow LLP. And 4, approval of amendment number 1 to the Go Mesa Memorandum of Understanding with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources related to the Gautier Van Cleve Sewer Improvement Project. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman College. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Councilman George. All in favor? Motion carries. That brings us to our study agenda. 1 is discussion for citizen comments. You can come to the front to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Any citizen comments? No citizen comments. That brings us to our council comments. It's the first meeting of the month, so we start with Ward 1. Councilman George.
I'm not sure privy of all the details of that whole situation with the golf cart thing, but I do find it hard to believe that Scott ignored them. I know it does happen. I send emails every day for work. But also, anybody, it only takes 2 seconds to respond and say, we're working on this, we'll get back to you soon. I totally understand their frustration, but I am glad that it's clarified and go-karts are excluded from that, because that's a dangerous vehicle. Other than that, thank you, police and fire, for all you do. It's been busy here lately, I feel like. I see a lot every time I turn around. Clearwater, I guess y'all all right. Other than that, thank you, everybody else, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman George. Councilman Jackson.
Yes. Well, y'all lucky I'm not over the ordinance, because you'd have had go-karts, you'd have had four-wheelers, it'd have been everything running around here. So, good thing I'm not over that. But, yeah, I had something real quick. So I had a guy from Lamar, he came up to me and approached. He was about to come to the council meeting. Just make sure we get him straight in Lamar. He was saying the drain's still not working that well, and we had code enforcers get on him about parking on the grass. So we double dipping on him. So I want y'all to just check into that, because I don't want to frustrate him no more than what has already been frustrated. And make sure if we got any updates on that drain in West Park. I know we had Seymour Engineer checking it out.
West Park.
West Park, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The name of the street, but
I think I know what you're talking about. There's two West Parks. One of them, there was something clogged or something
Yes, ma'am.
wrong, and then there was the overall drainage.
Yes, ma'am.
Something wrong, Russell went to take care of that.
Okay.
The overall drainage is, you're right, Seymour's looked at it, and to fix that drainage on that whole area
Yes, ma'am.
is going to be very, very expensive.
Right.
Like millions.
So I get is she talking about the same drain that in that cul-de-sac?
Two little cavemen on the back, going through there. We're going to dig all that up.
Okay.
We're working on Camille Brundle right now, trying to get that big drain.
Yes, sir.
Between the house.
Right.
We started that today.
Okay.
But that, after we finish that, we're gonna jump over there and get that on West Park
Okay.
and fix that. Then we going to Lamar, fix that.
Gotcha. Appreciate you. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all that was for me. And just for us to as a city, just to be aware of things. As we know that 57 is being annexed, part of 57 is being annexed. I just want to put you in a business mind. Well, it's part of 57 been annexed.
By who?
Ocean Springs, they were saying like across the street, that's not been annexed?
No, they
Okay.
ain't got the money to do that.
Okay, good. So I thought they was gonna annex part of that.
They
but,
tried
They
when I was the mayor, and
Okay,
we told them,
okay,
And
good.
then they come back and said they ain't got the money.
Okay, all right. Well, I say that, we just be aware that particular area, because I was addressing it years back about the Indians having a casino there, which is what it does is it brings in a lot of revenue. And I know some people might not be in agreement with casinos, I understand, but that particular area would bring in a lot of revenue for the city of Gautier and Ocean Springs as well. So that would be a good target, if we pursue that again. I know we attempted, I brought it to the council board so we can attempt it one time to speak with them and try to get that on board. And, that I just think that would bring in the attention we need for our area. But it's just a thought, if you disagree, it's fine, but it's just a thought. I'm just putting it out there, and I don't even know if they're interested in putting that project out there, but I know it's a good location and they could probably do well, and it will bring a lot of revenue for us. So I'm just putting that idea in our heads right now,
But if you recall, they actually put that on a referendum for a vote, and it was turned down by Jackson County.
We didn't have to vote on that. The Indians can put one.
I know they can, but they actually did the offer to
They
a
honored
referendum.
it.
They honored it and did a
I'm
referendum.
speaking on the turn down.
It's okay, that's okay. But I like to hear your, opinions anyway, so I just, I know that they did that, they did the vote on it and things like that, but also a lot of people, I know that they can, address it again and see if the people are more interested now, because times are changing and people's minds are changing about what's beneficial for the cities and things like that nowadays. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Gilat?
just to be legally clear, the Indians could put a casino out there and they don't need anybody's permission.
Right.
They had the courtesy of what Mr. College was saying is about, they put it to a vote and it got voted down in Jackson County. I don't have any other comments. I have a question. I know Chief Beaver, you had put out a text about damage to the middle school line there roof from a small tornado. Was that significant or just small? I never heard anything more about it.
It's like ripped up, it was like straight line winds and ripped up the skylight and caused some interior, like ceiling tile damage in the school. It had enough to close it, and it was open Monday.
Well, it dropped down to my neighborhood and destroyed stuff in people's yards, and plus my yard. When I got home, I said, what the heck has happened? And then I saw your text. Thank you, that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Councilman College?
It was a very busy weekend in the city of Gautier. I'm sure the mayor's going to address some of the items also, but I just want to address two. One was the Wooded Warrior Project had their third annual fishing tournament at Indian Point. It was a good turnout. The weather stayed nice until the very closing ceremonies. Rain came down, but it seemed like everybody that participated had a great time. Food was good, fellowship was very good, and we look forward to having them again next year for their fourth annual fishing tournament. The second item was we had our first annual 5K fun run at Shepherd State Park Saturday morning. Weather stayed nice for us. We had about 40 people show up, and it seemed like everybody had a great time, and look forward to doing it again next year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman College.
No, Kevin third.
Councilman Anderson?
Yeah, somebody brought it to my attention about the need of some flashing signals on both sides of Highway 57, the east side, Gautier side, and the west side, which would be Ocean Springs side. I guess that would be a highway department issue to ask them to look into this. They have these in a lot of other areas where people pick up speed going west, and of course in Ocean Springs they pick up speed coming east along that area, and all of a sudden the signal light changes. And I've even seen some people nearly rear end others over there.
You're talking about the intersection.
Intersection of 57 and Highway 90.
Oh, you're talking about flashing light that's about to
A
turn red?
flashing lights, it's, I don't know how far back, you put them a quarter mile back.
To warn them that they're approaching.
To warn them that you're approaching a signal light, yeah.
It's fixing to change.
Yeah, they're fixing to change, because there has been, I don't know how many accidents there's been there, but I know I've, myself going through there, have seen what was nearly accidents. And I thought it was a good issue, so he wanted me to bring that up, and that would be a state highway department issue, I think. Let's ask them, see what they could do on that.
That's a good idea, because they have that up at Wiggins and stuff.
Yeah,
so actually,
they do.
It just warns you that the light's about to turn red, so.
All right, thank you. And Clearwater, are y'all all right? Sure.
That's the same thing.
You may not be all right before long, because you got about 7 or 8 miles of Highway 90 that you're going to be sweeping the rocks out of the road for the next couple of years probably. And I called Frank Mallett today and talked to him about it, but he said it was in the contract. Said they did it in Ocean Springs and Pascagoula, but I didn't see it in Ocean Springs that they did it that way, but people are already running off the road. The intersection at Gautier Van Cleve Road and Highway 90's got rocks. And I ride a motorcycle, and a lot of other people do too, coming from Ingalls or wherever and going north. And that's a dangerous situation, these rocks. And they're going to, people that can't keep their wheels on the asphalt are constantly going to be slinging them rocks in the highway. And I'm not happy with it, but we'll see what Frank says. He's supposed to call back in a couple of days and see if there's something they can do, but I doubt they're going to do anything other than, but y'all going to have a job on your hands keeping them out of the road.
Well, Russell and I wrote it today, and there's some concern too, when we get ready to cut, how many windshields we're going to have to replace.
Oh, yeah?
Because they have a lot of spillage go off into the ditch area.
Well, the first motorcycle accident, I'm going to be there to help them and tell them who they need to go at. That'll be the MDOT. And I want to thank the police department and doing a great job. Appreciate what you did. Fire, Chief, thank y'all. That's all.
Councilman Elwood?
I guess I'll just reiterate, thank public safety and the city employees for what you do each and every day. Clearwater, thank you for taking, I've been watching them take care of the sidewalks again this week and clearing debris off of it. And the work, patchwork again on Hickory Hill Drive, they were out there refilling. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking care of that. Waste Pro, I spoke to y'all this week. I appreciate the help, the information on the hazardous waste issue. I appreciate that information. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Melvin. I just want to echo what Councilman College is correct. You know, we were blessed this in October in Gautier. We had a lot of activities. We have a lot of community support, and our youth cannot say that they did not have trick-or-treating in the city of Gautier, Mississippi. Because if they said that, that's lack of parents getting them to a free, and I repeat, free function, because I don't think we charged at any of our trunk-or-treats anything. So I want to thank all of our community partners. It started out with the city of Gautier. Thank you, Chastity, and your staff, and First United Methodist Church kicked it off with our trunk or treat for the city. It then went to the American Legion, then went to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Then we had Old Spanish Trail Baptist. We had Life Church on Highway 90, Martin Bluff Baptist Boys and Girls Club, and First United Methodist Church. And if I forgot, MGCCC. So all of them hosted trunk or treat in our city, but they also had support of our local businesses. So if you see any of those that hosted or supported, please thank them. And every elementary school had a trunk or treat for their children also. So we thank all of them. Also, our Gautier Pride, I just want to thank, if you don't know what Gautier Community Pride is, it's a nonprofit that supports education and beautification. And I want to thank their president, Ms. Deanna McManus, and the board and the members for all their hard work and contributions to try to help promote the city in a positive light for economic development and for community morale. Councilman College was the organizer of the 5K. One of the chairpersons, and also we thank you for that. And he also, as you heard, won third place.
No, there was no winning. I just finished third.
Finished, but he was a winner. So we thank you for your hard work in that. Also, the Wounded Warriors, our local residents, Mr. Eric Byers and his wife, and Mr. Alan Holtz and his wife, along with their other volunteers, did a fantastic job with our public safety from our agency all the way to DMR, Pascagoula, and the Sheriff's Department, and Acadian Ambulance, and the Coast Guard. They all did a fantastic job volunteering to give our veterans, not only in our community, but in the coastal region, something to experience that they served our country. We should give back to them, and they got to see Gautier Nature's Playground in a different light, so they can go shine and tell about their first fishing trip here in Gautier, Mississippi. So we want to thank the Wounded Warriors and all their sponsors. One of our big sponsors from Gautier was Killer Crab, so please go support them and the others. Also, I would like to thank the school superintendent, Mr. Elsie. He's new on the job, but he was Johnny on the spot on Saturday, along with the assistant superintendent, Ms. Belinda Damon, along with school board member, Mr. Matt Johnson, myself, Mr. Calvin Hutchins, and of course our public safety was there too at the straight line windstorm. We did not have a tornado they declared. We had a straight line windstorm, and there is a lot of significant damage But kudos to them and our planning department for working with them, knowing they had to start work on the weekend to get the school secured. But Mr. Elsie was adamant the children would not have to go to school an extra day. He was determined to get the school open on Monday and safe and secure. So he did, but they do have a lot of damage. They were here pulling permits today. The contractor, Mandel Roofing, was Johnny on the spot for them. They were there on Saturday too. And it is a lot of damage and structure with a wall. So they did have a lot of damage. Also, Gautier High School Band, thank our public safety, the police department and fire department for escorting them to I-10 for their state championship. They returned home. They left on Saturday a little after 1, around 1:30. They were delayed leaving, but they arrived home at 5 a.m. back to GHS. They were delayed due to weather playing. They played at 10:30 at night. For the competition, but they were strong and determined to win, so they are the Class 5A silver medalist winners. So kudos to our band directors for their dedication to them. Highway 90 paving, I want to give kudos to Warren Paving and also our city staff for y'all's communication, working back and forth. There is some concern with the rock. Mr. Mallett did relate to me along with others today that he is going to get with MDOT. It's an MDOT thing. It's required due to the roadbed to keep it sturdy and stabilized, and they do it on all their paving projects. So he will get back with us. Clearwater, thank you all for your Johnny on the spot. A manhole this weekend. Y'all got up there fast today trying to locate a water line so the resident can turn their water off after hours. So we appreciate your hard work. Waste Pro, thank you in cleaning up litter that really is not in your contract to pick up. But we have vagrants in our community and we have people willing to clean the property and we set it out there and you pick it up. So we appreciate you and your partnership. Code enforcement, thank you once again. I know it's a thankless job. We receive a lot of code enforcement complaints and they do not repeat. They're anonymous. Unfortunately, some people just assume who calls and reports. But I can assure you we are not telling who calls and reports. It's anonymous. So feel free to call code enforcement if you have any code violations. We will continue to work on code enforcement and beautify our city. I've received a lot of positive complaints over the past week saying how good the city looks. So thank you to our city manager and our planning department for that. Also thank Judge St. Pay for supporting the planning department and make sure they come in compliance. Y'all have a great week, and that's all I have. And I thank the citizens who's come tonight to support us, and the ones that are watching us on Facebook Live, thank you for tuning in and watching and getting involved in your community. And I encourage you to support our events, support our youth. Our football team is doing great. Pray they win Thursday night. They're playing Thursday night out of town. Pray they win so we can continue to go on to the state championships. Also, RCS will have homecoming. So just remember to support our resurrection also. So thank you all. Ms. Shanksy, do you have any comments? None? Ms. Montgomery, Ms. Dickerson, y'all have any from the city clerk's office? None. City Attorney, Mr. Dennis, do you have anything?
Yes, Mayor. Just briefly, I wanted to comment because we had some citizens here talking about the length of time it took to change the ordinance. But Mr. Ankerson was very diligent as soon as he received that inquiry, and we worked together on multiple occasions to get that pulled across the finish line, make sure that y'all's intent was achieved, and I just want to make that clear.
Thank you, Mr. Ankerson. Mr. Downs.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ankerson, do you have anything? Ms. Bilbao, you have anything? Mr. Latch, Fire Chief, you have anything? Police Chief, Mr. Bevers, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Clearwater, anything? Voice Pro, anything? Okay.
What is?
What about Sam?
Sam, thanks. I know he don't have nothing. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Until 6 o'clock.
Until 6 o'clock on November 15th.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Gilat. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman College. All in favor? We're adjourned to 6 o'clock. Remember, 6 o'clock, November the 15th, not 6:30.